And where that becomes a problem is that if for arrest to be discharged properly, I have to be informed, and
Absolutely,
if
yeah.
if if,
Yeah,
if I
proper arrest
yeah,
means you've been informed
I
of
have to
this
be
arrest.
informed like, as
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
happening. And so, if I had been informed, that's just the sort of the incidental evidence. If I had been informed, there'd be no reason for me to be standing in Kevin Street asking everybody what the fuck's going on. Why am I here? I don't mean to swear at you. I just mean that's just a
no, yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
direct
That's
quote.
fine.
So that's like because I realized that it'll always be my word against the boys, I suppose. And then I
Yeah.
remembered that CCTV will show me going repeatedly, just asking everyone, why am I here? What's happening?
Okay. Now I will advise that CCTV is only kept obviously for anything for a period of time, and the guards are no different. They don't hold it indefinitely. So they don't. So whether that CCTV still exists or not, I couldn't tell you. I don't
Well,
know.
I'd say if it did, if it does, it probably won't exist for much longer. But like if this gets out, but you know, I'd at least have brought the concern because if if the medical records were via CAN and everything, because one of the other concerns is with the Mental Health Act, there's no provision for the guards to just drive around until they find a doctor willing to do it, like 18 doctors later. Do you know? I mean, that's an
Yeah. No,
extreme.
don't they can't do that. No, they
Yeah,
have to. And this is where the Garda doctor thing comes in. They call a particular doctor. He comes up and makes his opinion, and then that's kind of the line. Then they have to take from there.
yeah. So then you're in a situation where Can leaves not wanting to sex me, and then
Yeah.
Can has to come back because events in the station have caused a degree of distress where I'm demanding to go back to hospital.
Okay.
But so then we have a situation where those two threads don't really add up because Can was there about 2 hours previously and went, I'm not sexing this person.
Yeah.
And then Can has to come back and go, okay, I'll sex him. Like, you had to one, even he probably had to wonder what was going on in the background if he come back 2 hours. And so that point with Can becomes in, and then so that leads to false imprisonment and unlawful arrest. Then you have um, that also points to the constant threats with intent to cause, implied or threats to intent to cause harm from Gillen the whole way through James's, and where it falls between civil, common, and criminal, as a consequence of Gillen. Uh, and I'm just not going to like sugar it up. As a consequence of Gillen falsely telling St James's Hospital that my life in Finland was a delusion and the events were hallucinations and delusions, that led to James's Hospital not believing me about my medical records because
Okay.
Gillen had told them that Finland was all a lie,
Okay.
and so that crosses into tort law through misrepresentation, and where due to that, actually directly due to that level of falsifying, I don't know about me, uh, the doctors ignored by telling them about my medical records regarding my coronary obstructive pulmonary disease and my asthma,
Yeah.
and they prescribed me two medication, one after the other, which I refused to take, um, and they were haloperidol and olanzapine.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm aware of this from some of the emails you sent
yeah, they
previously.
cause
They would.
they
Yeah.
cause acute risk of acute respiratory failure
Yeah.
in people with mice. So that becomes that then looks towards having read through it. That becomes like a attempted poisoning through fraudulent misrepresentation and endangerment.
Okay.
And then
But by whom on that at that point?
what that's just me reading through both the Criminal Justice Act in 1976 and the updated version, and also
Yeah.
Walsh and the other big law textbook. I was going back and forth. I would go back and forth between the two of them. So like I wouldn't have even risked saying this to you if I hadn't spent all the time making the notes.
No, I understand. Yeah, you do a lot of research on different things before you kind of say stuff. So
Yeah, and so then
yeah.
because also if we go back to that, then jump forward again to the 27th, because you have a point where at no point did anyone tell me why I was being arrested. until
Yeah.
well into the station.
Okay.
That makes extracting me from my private dwelling an unlawful arrest. Although actually, um, the words "you're arrested" weren't said to me until Kevin Street. I was just
Okay.
told to come. You're coming with us. So that makes that an unlawful arrest, trespass, and malicious damage.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair
You
enough.
know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like I'm not. I realize even breathing this is going to risk bringing more trouble on me, but
No, I don't think it'll bring any more trouble.
any more than I could have already. But
I don't. I don't think that this is going to exacerbate or do anything else. Like, I mean, this at the moment is only a conversation between yourself and myself. When
yeah,
you do this in the court process, it's still only in the court process that it'll be to the hopefully to finalise the matter properly for everyone's chance to progress forward with their lives.
yeah. You see that the like then there's where we go back um to the first on the 31st of the 8th. O'Reilly's video disproves Gillen's point about arresting me at my door and bringing me downstairs, because you can see in O'Reilly's video I'm escorted across the road by two EMT. Then that becomes that problem. So going back to that when they took me from Kevin Street to James's after Cannes had been the second time,
Okay.
I was made sit in the van for nearly an hour and a half, close to 2 hours, and I constantly overheard the guards arguing with or talking about that. They were arguing with the doctors as they were trying to force, by their own admittance to themselves, as they were talking about it and finding it quite funny and but frustrating, the doctors to take me into to be sectioned, and the doctors were refusing. And I think an Inspector Lamb, I think that's his name, or freshly a new inspector, Lammy or something. Um, he was called and he came, and he came in to do the I suppose coercion slash plumossing, because I know it was a mixture of coercion and slightly bullying, because they were joking about it when he came out.
Right.
So that is then we enter into a situation where they brought me back to the original medical facility that is already refused, and that medical facility is still refusing until a senior guard is brought to work slash persuade them. And then over the course of that, with Gillen and I assume that inspector, it becomes that my medical records now then show or recorded that that my time in Finland was a delusion, including and that my stabbing was a hallucination.
Okay.
Where that becomes, it's like the medical records make it quite murky. Not
Yeah.
murky as in like hard to see, but like bleak.